welcome to Tudor Cooking with Claire. Now today I'm going to make a kind of a sweet sort of treat. It's not really a dessert, it's something that you would have just as a sort of snack, a bit like a flapjack or a biscuit. It's called Lombard slices. Now these actually date back a bit earlier than the Tudor period, but they're still something that would be enjoyed in Tudor times. Now the recipe I'm using today is from this cookbook, which is a really good cookbook. It's really lovely. The Medieval Cookbook by Maggie Black. Now the recipe is based on one from two 15th century cookery books, which are in the Harleian manuscript 279. I'll read you out the original recipe. There are a few words that I can't really make out, but I'll try my best. Take fair honey and clarify it on the fire till it wax hard. Then take hard yolks of iron and cream a good quantity thereto till it be stiffy now, and then take it up and lay it on a board. Then take fair grated bread and powder pepper and mould it together with thine hands till it be so stiff that it will be ben leched. Then lech it. Then take wine and powdered ginger, cannel, and a little clarified honey and late wren through a strainer, and cast this syrup thereon when thou shalt serve it instead of clary, which I'm not sure what clary is, or I don't know. Anyway, this recipe, it says that it serves 6, and I'll give you the recipe now. You need 12 hard-boiled egg yolks. Now I hard-boiled the eggs earlier, and it's really easy to get the yolks out. You can pretty much get them out in one piece. They just pop out once you've cracked the eggs. They're nice and easy to get out. So 12 egg yolks. You need some clear honey. Now for the actual slices you need 8 tablespoons of that, and then you need 5 tablespoons for the syrup later. You need 175 grams of finely sort of processed breadcrumbs, white bread. So I just used yesterday's French loaf that we had in and just whizzed it up in the food processor. So you can use any kind of white bread for that. Spices, you need black pepper. It's interesting that the Spanish canela is like what they said in the Lombard slices recipe, cannel, which is cinnamon, ground cinnamon. And some ground ginger. And then a cup of red wine. Now, I'll read you what Maggie Black says. There are at least 3 recipes for the sweetmeat called Leche Lombarde. One stiffened with dates, one with almonds, and this one with egg yolks. And what I found interesting is that I found on author Susanna Gregory's site, Susanna Gregory is a historical fiction author, I found some recipes for Lombard slices or Leche Lombarde, which were with dates as well. And I did try and find one with ground almonds, but failed miserably. She makes them with sort of chopped almonds. She's got two variations, one with dates and one with almonds. But I'm assuming, seeing as obviously the breadcrumbs are so fine, that you could use ground almonds as well to stiffen the mixture. Now the first thing we do is we need to sieve the egg yolks to make them as fine as possible. I've just finished sieving the eggs, which was hard work. My arms are really tired now. And now I'm going to heat the honey, and you need about 8 tablespoons of clear honey for this. I'm just heating the honey on the hob And the idea is to bring it up to the boil and then to let it simmer for 2 minutes. So my honey has been simmering for 2 minutes, and now the recipe says to add the egg yolks a little at a time and to beat them into the honey. So I'm going to do that. You can see how fine the egg yolks are now that I've sieved them. So I'm just putting a spoonful or so in at a time, combining them with the melted honey. It's a lovely honey smell with the hot honey. Smell it throughout the kitchen. And put all of those in. I'm just going to get them really mixed in with the honey, really combined. And then I've got my breadcrumbs. Now the recipe says use sufficient breadcrumbs to make the mixture stiff enough to mould. So I'm going to do a spoonful or so, a couple of spoonfuls at a time, and start mixing that in. This is one of those things where, you know, you can't be definite with your measurements because, you know, the size of the yolks will differ, the consistency of the honey, there are all sorts of factors. So really this is just going, you know, by how. So I don't think my mixture needs any more breadcrumbs now. It's good and stiff. And now I'm just going to add a pinch of pepper. Just mix that in. And then the recipe says to shape it into a brick and then to chill it in the fridge. So I'm going to do it with my bare hands, I guess. You know, if you've got butter paddles, you know, to do butter, or if you've got anything that's kind of flat, you could do it with that. But I'm just going to make mine into a big ball and then put it on the plate and play around with it. So that's quite a nice kind of dough that it's made there. Definitely something I can mould. So I'm going to get that together in a big ball. Let's get the last straggling bits. It's an interesting recipe. I would never have thought of mixing egg yolks, breadcrumbs and honey like this. It'll be interesting to see what it tastes like. I did also see a recipe for Leche Lombard slices, which used mincemeat as well. It was a savoury version of it, and it had mincemeat and almonds and breadcrumbs and herbs. Right, let's see if I can mould this into a kind of patty. And to make it into a longer one. Of course, I'm not quite sure how big Tudor bricks were. I haven't had a good look at the ones in the Hampton Court Palace, but I reckon round about that. Obviously you can use something sort of flat if you want yours to look better. So I've made my kind of vaguely brick-like shape, and I'm going to put that in the fridge to chill. Now we're going to make the syrup for the Lombard slices, which is what you serve them with. For this we'll need a cup of red wine, 5 tablespoons of clear honey. So this is a very honey themed dessert or sweetmeat. 2, 3, 4, 5. And into the honey and the red wine, we have a pinch of cinnamon and a pinch of ginger. Always seems to be ginger and cinnamon that you have in Tudor recipes. They're obviously very keen on those 2 spices. And then I'm just going to take them over to the hob, and the recipe says to simmer those ingredients together until it's a reduced syrup. So I'm going to do that now. Now, the Lombard Leche or Lombard slices, the brick, is nicely chilled now. And I reduced the wine and honey and spice mixture. I simmered it for about 20 minutes or so, and it's definitely reduced, but you might want to reduce it even further. But I quite like the consistency of that. So now I'm just going to cut a slice. Excuse fingers. And it says to serve it with some of the syrup drizzled over it. And I can just imagine this being served with hippocras or wassail at a sort of banquet, you know, when they have the sweetmeats sort of at the end of a meal, or at something like a christening or a coronation and that. So I'm going to try it, and then I'm going to let Tim try it as well. Since he's the cameraman, you have to keep them happy, don't you? So I'm just going to have a try of it. There's nothing I can compare that to. It's kind of got the consistency perhaps of marzipan. Though I think the strongest taste is honey. Have a look on her website, susannagregory.com, in the bonus material and recipes. She does some versions using dates and using almonds, so you could try those as well. But I actually like that with the egg yolks. It's very tasty. So have fun with your cooking, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye bye.